So I've seen the first 4 episodes of Dune Prophecy out of 6. And we're going to talk about it today. We're going to talk about it in a very casual way, not a very, too professional film critic kind of way, where you kind of just sat in front of the camera, being all professional. I'm going to talk to you about this show in the most casual way I can, chilling on the couch with a microphone in my hand, with the series just kind of up on my screen right now. Lots to talk about. Obviously, you can tell from the title that I was not a big fan of this show, and we're going to talk into why. Maybe a little bits of reassurance, but also settling expectations. Why is this on my screen? Please go away. But Dune Prophecy, I'm a big fan of the Dune films. I thought they're incredible films. I love the world that Denis Villeneuve has set. This is set in the same world as those Dune films. So it's natural for a lot of people, me included, to kind of hold this series up to a little bit higher standard due to the standard set by Denis Villeneuve. You've got to remember as well, this is a HBO drama, and as you know, HBO projects are to a very, very high level in writing, production design, etc. Acting, the whole lot. So expectations were high for this TV show. However, the trailers did make me doubt the show a little bit. I thought the cinematography was wildly off, and it just didn't seem like it was, it wasn't going to reach those heights. And I wouldn't have expected so. However, I think the Penguin, as an example, is a great way of showing that a TV show can be at that level on a different, measured at a different scale. We're comparing a film with a big budget by a master director to a TV show written by multiple people, directed by multiple people. But the Penguin showed that is possible. You can make a TV show with incredible writing, fantastic cinematography, great acting, and it is also different to the film, but both can be held to a high standard. Anyway, Dune Prophecy. I didn't like this. I'm so sorry. But again, like I said, I'm a fan of Dune, and this really, really didn't work for me. I will touch a little bit on the world building of this, because I don't think this world building is great. But yeah, quite a bit to talk about. Again, this will be no spoilers. I don't plan to dive into spoilers. I didn't even react to the show because I was so hesitant with the show. I didn't want to do a reaction, and then the whole reaction just being like, I didn't like that. So I will be doing like a weekly review thing of each episode. The first episode coming out on, in America on the 17th, but in the UK on the 18th, which is a Monday. Great cast. So we've got Emily Watson, Olivia Williams, Travis Fimmel, Mark Strong. There are some other actors in this that I don't know if they have been confirmed or not. I'm looking at the cast now, and they have not been confirmed. So there are some big names, or maybe not big names, but popular actors that everyone knows, but maybe not their specific name, in the show, which very surprised me, I think, in episode 3. The show really didn't work for me. I think I'll start with the writing. The writing, for me, was really poor. Very thin. No kind of emotional grab. I didn't care about the characters. I certainly didn't care after the first 3 episodes. I think I finished the 3rd episode and I went, I've now indulged in 3 hours of Dune Prophecy, and I don't care at all about anyone or the plot or anything. The production design is fantastic. That was expected. Again, it is still HBO. There is money there. But in one of my kind of mini reviews that I did kind of like Twitter and just other apps, I said that this is a high budget, low end sci-fi show that doesn't have the pull to bring in the best of the best. And that's an issue because this is HBO and they should be able to bring in the best of the best. And Dune deserves the best of the best, but I didn't feel that whatsoever in this show. I thought the cinematography wasn't great at times, looked really dull and just flat. Again, I've talked about the characters. I do want to touch a little bit on the acting, because I do think the acting's good, but I think the acting from some of the younger cast members have given this show a completely different tone and vibe to it. You know, there's such a engaging tone and atmosphere around the Bene Gesserit in the films that is mysterious. Now, this show is obviously about the rise of the Bene Gesserit into full power, and how the Bene Gesserit, you know, teach other younger members to learn the powers and what it means to be a Bene Gesserit. And what comes with that is a lack of mystery, because we need to, you know, we're learning as well. However, some of the younger actors, great actresses, by the way, and actors, there are a few male characters in this as well on the younger side. The good actors, but it just didn't feel as grounded and real as some of the older, more senior actors who were playing it really real and grounded, while I think this was very dramatized by the younger actors, that at times it felt like a teen drama, but a high-budget, dramatic teen drama. You know, it just, some line deliveries felt exaggerated. You know, this is HBO, and I felt like I was watching, I don't know, Sci-Fi or whatever networks working, you know, doing the Halo show, Paramount. So that really didn't work for me. There's a scene, this isn't a spoiler, but, and I don't know if this is in the Dune lore, and if it is in the Dune lore, then please do let me know and correct me. However, for me, when it happened, I just really wasn't on board with it. But there's a nightclub scene, and that threw me off a bit. You know, for such a world that's very grounded and raw, to get like a nightclub scene that was kind of, I don't know. I know a lot of people compare Dune and Star Wars, because obviously Star Wars took inspiration from Dune, but Star Wars has kind of nightclub scenes, and they kind of throw you off a little bit, because they are like Earth nightclubs, they're just tweaked. And this was the same with this. It just felt weird. The lighting was kind of forced, you know, with all the LEDs. You can tell there's LEDs on set, and I don't like that. I like when lighting feels natural, but it didn't feel natural. Just kind of, again, familiar teen drama kind of love interests and kissing and all that, and I didn't feel like it needed to be in this. Sorry if I keep hitting my microphone. The editing was really off for me as well. Whenever they'd kind of do like the Bene Gesserit looking inside of someone's mind, it went like vroom, 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 vroom. Felt a bit like a parody, and I wasn't on board with that. The pacing is actually not too bad, if I'm being honest. I think episode 2 went by quite quickly, but in a kind of a bad way. I felt like nothing had really happened. Like I said, I'm 4 hours into this show, and I have as much investment in this show than I did in, I don't know, Penguin after a minute. You know, it's really not there. There is a moment, the last 4-5 minutes of the first episode I actually liked. I thought was a great little tease of a possible tone that is going to continue and vibe, and yeah, I felt hopeful for that, and it just didn't continue. And this is kind of what I mean in terms of some of the dramatic aspects. Not teen drama, because obviously they're not teens, but you know what I mean, the kind of love interest that just doesn't really need to be a part of it. At least I didn't feel like it should be part of it, or maybe it did need to be a part of it, but I think could have been written in a better way. yeah, again, some of the editing, the lighting, just everything just kind of threw me off, because you are actively comparing it to Dune films, and maybe that's unfair, but I don't think it is, considering how the Penguin has handled that being in the same universe as the incredible and masterfully shot The Batman. The music at times felt a little bit of a parody. I do think the music's one of the strongest parts of the show. The composer of this did All Quiet on the Western Front. But there's a score very early on in the show that feels like it was trying to imitate the Hans Zimmer score. It just didn't work for me. And at least for the first 30 minutes of the show, there was non-stop music. You know, we never really got a time to just settle down and just take in the world. It's constant just music in the background, and I just wasn't on board with it. The CGI and, again, production design, everything is very, very good. And that was what was giving me a little bit of hope. I thought, given the incredible cast, maybe not a big name cast, but I've seen a lot of projects from a lot of these actors, and I know how incredibly talented they are. So for me, it's an incredible cast. I thought the writing would be a lot stronger. Just again, none of this worked for me. The dialogue felt flat. The story, just uninteresting. The editing, just a bit all over the place. Pacing can be a bit all over the place. But there's one thing I did want to talk about, and I think to a lot of people this potentially could be a bit petty. Now, I do want to say as well, I haven't seen the last two episodes. The last two episodes could be fantastic and could change this entire show. I do wonder why they didn't send the last two episodes, because, again, if people weren't on board with the first four, then these last two could change things. Maybe they're hiding something, I don't know. I'm sure I'll get the show at some point. The last two episodes at some point. But there's a certain shot selection I want to talk about, and again, maybe some people call it petty, but I spoke to a couple people about this shot, and if they felt the same I felt with it being in this world, and that's the snorri cam shot. Now, the snorri cam shot, if you're not familiar with the term, you're definitely familiar with the shot, is where the camera rig is attached to their chest and the camera's right in their face. It's often used for action. It was used in the new Bad Boys film, for comedic purposes, for moments where a character is on drugs, like in Requiem of a Dream. This series and this world has no space. Snorri cam should not be used at all. It really threw me off. It's such a glamorous, modern shot that you just can't imagine Denis Villeneuve using in the Dune films. It's such a TV or energetic film kind of shot. You know, when you think about the times that the snorri cam shot has been used, I can think of this. I think This Is the End might have used it. Something involving Jonah Hill. It's used in comedies. It's used in action films. This isn't an action film. This is very much a drama. Requiem of a Dream. You know, that shot is used to show the kind of euphoric, kind of outer body experience. It's also used in The Amazing Spider-Man as a great POV kind of. Not POV, but you know what I mean, to show what it's like to be Spider-Man. And they do use this in a very fantastical way, but the shot itself, the fact that they're using a snorri cam, just felt like they just didn't really understand what Dune is. And I feel like, again, that's a very petty thing to say. Oh, they shouldn't use a certain shot type, because it is a good shot type, and I love that shot. But there's certain shots that Denis Villeneuve would never consider in the Dune films, and that's the snorri cam shot, and they used it in this show, and it really took me out. And I feel like that kind of highlight a bit what's wrong with this show, is that it doesn't really understand what made the Dune films so good. You can tell these people who make the show are fans of Dune. And you can tell that the actors are putting, are trying with the script that they've got. But there's such an incredible in tone set by Denis that this show, I don't know if it even tries to replicate or if it tries to be itself, but it didn't work for me. I really disliked this season. I was bored most of the time. I did go on my phone a couple times, in fairness, to write down notes, but at times messaging friends saying, this ain't working for me. There's a lot of great cinematography here and there. There's obviously going to be, you probably saw some of it in the trailers. And there's great acting at times, again, like I said, from the senior actors, I think really worked, but the younger actors, just, no, not for me. I'm very disappointed in Dune Prophecy. You may have a different opinion than me, and I'm all for it. I have seen the other reviews to see if people or critics are on board with the show, and it does seem the general consensus is that people aren't particularly enjoying this, and I certainly didn't. But yeah, it's not great. It's not great. Well, if you like it, please do let me know in the comments below. I mean, come back to this after the first episode, and maybe you're on board with it, and fantastic. I do think episode 3 is probably the strongest of what I've seen. It kind of takes place mostly in the past. But yeah, didn't work for me. Thank you for watching the video. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe, like, and comment, all the good stuff. My Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd down below. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.